The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the third day of September 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill in a bit, brought to you by People's. It's almost like, it's the second day of the traditional work week. So do I say happy hump day? Like, is it technically like the middle of the work week, or is it still the beginning of the work week? Because we can't have it both ways, right? But anyway, happy Wednesday. Usually hump day. You're almost to Friday. Friday, junior. Maybe that's a way to look at it. But anyway, hope everyone's having a great week so far. And we're getting in the mood for pumpkin season. You all know I already had some pumpkin muffins last week, and I saw all the pumpkin stuff. I shared it on my WhatsApp status because, the stores, it wasn't even September yet, right? And they had all the pumpkin stuff, pumpkin soup and pumpkin latte and pumpkin milk and pumpkin, I took all the pumpkin pastries. They had muffins, they had bread, they had cookies, pumpkin chocolate chip, and if you're a pumpkin fan like me, you understand the obsession. But yeah, and my dear business partner says, "Oh yeah, get me some of those pumpkin pancake mix." Okay, yeah, see if they make it back to you. But for all the pumpkin fans, happy pumpkin season to you. Also, I forgot to mention yesterday, it's officially lobster season in Bermuda. I shared this thing the other day. It said the roaches or bugs of the ocean. And it had like lobster, it had shrimp and scallops and oysters, all that. And, my response was very easy. Well, I like my bugs in hot butter and some cocktail sauce on the side. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So happy lobster season or bug season to you all. Enjoy your lobsters, and hopefully, I like mine. When I got them in Bermuda, the spiny, I get curry. I asked for curry lobster. So some people don't find that appetizing, but ooh, boy, delicious. So lobster season. We got some birthdays we missed. We've got yesterday, Kathy Rogers. Audience, give Kathy Rogers a big happy birthday. Happy birthday to Kathy. And Shana Smith is always in the comments. Happy birthday to you, Shana. Yeah, look at us. We don't really do birthday shout outs on this show unless we know you tune in. Like my mom and my daddy be like, it's such and such's birthday, so they don't tune into this show. Seriously, this is not, me and Teo have a way of that. We think about that. Like, I'm not giving shout outs to nobody ain't never listened or tuned into the show. What for? It's not for them. They ain't tuned in. Oh, it's such and such. Okay, tell them I said happy birthday. But no, big up to Kathy and Shanna celebrating birthdays. All right, folks, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Alandra Swan on from the KBB. We're going to be discussing the island-wide coastal cleanup. The daily play is music today, so I think I've got a fun one for you all. Got last week, it was that Tony Braxton question about Unbreak My Heart. What comes after that? And I think it was like Say You Love Me Again. So you got that one. So we're going to do a different one today. R&B, we're going to stick with R&B. See how many of you R&B 90s heads in the audience. In the meantime, do us a favor. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, we've got a conversation to have. We do. Suzanne Ingham says, super awesome Wednesday, Jamal. Yes, pumpkin season, pumpkin time is all year. Well, I concur. I eat pumpkin all year, but the other folks, those fake pumpkin lovers come out usually in September. She says she makes pumpkin pancakes. Well, I look forward to getting mine. Suzanne Ingham says, happy birthday, Kathy, Shana, and anyone else, Jamal. Yeah, that's important, that last part. Anyone else in the audience who has a birthday, celebrating a birthday, happy birthday to you. All right, let's get to it, folks. So we've got to have a conversation. And today's conversation we've got to have, let me just put the questions up. The questions are, what are your thoughts on government bringing in outside training to improve customer service? And have you ever had a bad customer service experience with government in Bermuda? Well, why are we talking about that today? Well, let's share why we're talking about that. So the government, well, according to our friends at the Royal Gazette, government seeks vendor for officer training, it reads, right? So a request for proposals that was published on the 20th of August stated that the chosen vendor will arrange and deliver training to ensure public officers are well equipped to meet the needs and expectations of the public. Folks. So let's go a bit deeper. Okay. So the whole purpose of this, they're focusing on service standards, both in-person and phone interactions, problem solving interaction techniques, and overall customer care excellence. The train-the-trainer model, a key feature, the vendor will deliver a train-the-trainer module, enabling selected officers to become internal trainers, ensuring continuous and scalable training across departments. The training is mandatory for new hires and also available as a refresher for current employees. The pilot phase will target 400 public officers over 3 months, with sessions capped at 30 participants each. Now, the RFP criteria prioritized Bermudian-based vendors, their employment of Bermudians, and their track record. It enforces ethical standards, no media contact or improper offers to influence procurement. So why does this matter to us, audience? Why does this matter? Why are we discussing this? Well, some of you have complained, especially during the pandemic, about not getting great customer service when you call government offices. Some of you even say no one answers the phone. So we want smoother services. We want more courteous in-person dealings. The hope is that this will enhance how residents interact with public services. What's crazy to me is that Bermuda is so small that you would think that people in public service would know most of the people they deal with and treat them. Well, then again, if they don't like people, they might treat them differently. I must say, and there's no disrespect, let me send love to all the customs officers in Bermuda, right? But I hope this includes them as well. Because I'll never forget when I worked in tourism. True story. When I worked in tourism, one of the complaints or concerns I got is, why are they not friendly at the airport? And I used to say, well, they have a very serious job. Like, their job is not just to smile and say, like, hey, I'm Johnny Barnes or anything. Their job is literally to protect our borders. But then once people bring it to your attention, you start to realize, wow, they are so serious. They don't smile. They're not welcoming. And as a tourist destination, you might want to be a bit more welcoming, right? Maybe their customer service training is different. But what are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts? Again, the government of Bermuda is seeking a vendor. And I think applications are due by September 30th. They're seeking a vendor to provide basically customer service training to government staff, to public officers, civil servants. What are your thoughts on that? And yes or no, have you ever had a bad experience, customer service experience with government in Bermuda with a government department. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, yes, at TCD, most of the staff are really helpful, but a few act like they are doing you a favor or just can't be bothered. You know, I remember many people saying they had bad experiences at TCD. To be honest with you, I have never really had a bad experience there because I've only been TCD probably 3 times in my life. Seriously. Four times. Four. Once to get my license when I was a teen, another to get my car license, another to get my intermediate license, and then another to renew my license. So yeah, 4 times. 5 times. Sorry, I've renewed my license twice. So five times in my life. That's crazy. I can count on one hand. So I can say that I have not really had to deal with bad customer service experience there, but I've been told that that's one of the places where people have had challenges. I thought that a kiosk would have solved the problem that we may have had with customer service experiences in Bermuda all these years, though. I would have sworn kiosk would have done the job. But what else, audience? What are your thoughts? Like, how do you feel about government outsourcing? How do you feel about them outsourcing training to improve customer service standards in the public service? But also, yes or no, just a yes or no. No one in government's gonna, spank you or chase after you or hunt you down. But have you ever had a bad customer service experience with government in Bermuda? And folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Let's go. Kenton Trott says, good morning, TDH family. I am genuinely confused by this RFP. I know there are people in government that can provide this training. And yes, I think it's necessary. Here's the thing, Kenton. I was waiting. I didn't want to say that part because I expected someone in the audience to actually say this. I don't know, and I probably should have looked this up before this show, how many people are employed by the government of Bermuda. But if I'm not mistaken, it's likely the largest employer in Bermuda. If you cannot find someone in your HR departments or someone with that skill of all the people employed in the government public service to do this training, what does that tell you about who you've hired? And this is no disrespect to public officers. Let me be clear. No disrespect to you all. But Kenton Trott has a point. Or maybe people within government want to do it and they've been told no. I don't know, but that is actually a valid point, Kenton, and thank you for touching on it. WKD Lama says, no bad experience. Sometimes it is slow. I know people had problems with the immigration department during the pandemic, like trying to get passports, and people had a lot of concerns. Again, I can't really say I've had a bad experience with government, not even customs. Seriously, I give people in customer service grace. I do, because I think we as humans tend to expect them to be perfect or better than us. And these are human beings. They still have family, they have friends, they have things going on beyond work. I shared an experience previously, and I may have shared it with you all on the show. So last year, February, I went to lunch, and when I lived in Florida, it was a nice place on the water. I used to like to go in the winter months. And the lady who was serving our table, she had she had a chip on her shoulder, right? And I said to the person I was with, I said, you know what? The person I was with was basically like, oh, she has an attitude. And I said, you know what? You never know. You never know what this person may be going through. They could have a parent in the hospital. They can have a child. You just never know. And I know it's easy to say, oh, well, you're not supposed to bring your problems to work. That's easier said than done. And having lost a mother and being far away from my family a lot, and I know what it's like. I know what it's like when, people think everything's fine and then they wonder what's wrong with you. So when I say I haven't had customer service issues with public officers, that doesn't mean they haven't They've been good. It just means I've given them grace. Nicole Walker says, yes, I had a recent bad experience at Registry General. I think customer service is lacking in Bermuda, not just government. Yeah, I've heard that. We've discussed that. We've discussed it. There are many people that say this isn't a government issue. This is a customer service issue in Bermuda. It goes back to what Dr. Anthony Richardson said yesterday during the show, service versus servitude. And I mentioned Whom Shall I Fear, Dr. Ewart Brown's book, understanding the difference between service and servitude. When you're in customer service, you're there to, provide a service to people. And again, folks, there's a thick line. It's not that thin. The difference between service and servitude, right? There are entrepreneurs, billionaires who provide services to make a living. There's a difference. And if you take on the job to provide a service, it comes with having a certain attitude. What are your thoughts, though, audience? What are your thoughts on government? Again, if you've just tuned in, the government of Bermuda is basically, they put out a request for proposal, right? So that's an RFP. They're seeking a qualified vendor to deliver customer service training to public officers. And the RFP must be in, I believe, by September 30th, 2025. So they want to improve both in-person, right, and telephone interactions, problem solving, interaction techniques, and overall customer care excellence. So again, the government of Bermuda is seeking to find someone to train its staff to be better with customer service. Alandra Swan says, do fish swim? In other words, unfortunately, definitely, yes, I have received unpleasant service. Well, that's unfortunate. And hopefully, so Alandra Swan, you would be in favor of government bringing in someone to do training for customer service then. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, didn't the government downsize the HR department? Well, so Dr. Anthony Richardson is touching on something else. Kenton Trott says they should have people already who can do this. Well, I don't want to give my sources away, but there are people in government who tell me that the government, in order to reduce the civil or public service, has not replenished in spaces that they need to. So they haven't rehired in key positions. I don't know how true that is. That's just what I've been told. So this could be very true, that they did downsize. And I mean, we can get that information and get back to you. Oh my goodness. Please, Suzanne, please, audience, keep your comments very short. Keep them short. That's very long. And the whole comment's not there. But basically, she says, do you really think bringing someone in will make a difference? I don't think it will. Yes, the guy at TCD was so rude and nasty to me. I reported him. They were hot to fire the guy, but I told them I didn't want the guy fired. Maybe he was having a really bad day, but please have a word with him. He's still there, much nicer. So clearly he was having a rotten day. No, he's never spoilized. It's okay. I see the change. Yes, Register Journal. Oh my God, one lady's attitude, and then it cuts off. But to Suzanne's point, I don't think we make excuses for bad behavior or bad customer service when we say we don't want someone fired. I never want to see anyone lose their job. Seriously. I do not. And I think a bad attitude is not necessarily a reflection of who a person is overall, because the attitude on the day is not necessarily a reflection of them every day, So props to you, Suzanne, for looking out. Again, audience, what are your thoughts on government bringing in outside training to improve customer service? And have you ever had a bad customer experience with a government department in Bermuda? Have you ever had a bad experience with a government department in Bermuda? Well, Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, my frustrations with government customer service are the inconsistency and antiquated ways of doing things. Good customer service is a culture that starts at the top. I look at Ritz-Carlton and their delivery. Absolutely, it starts from the top. Leadership is extremely important in how those under them carry themselves and represent any organization. So I definitely agree with you, Charles. Hadley and Swan says, however, because I consider myself to be trauma-informed, I treat the people who are unpleasant with grace and mercy, as I think just before they saw me, I don't know what news they just received. Absolutely. Absolutely. And folks, I'm trying to be, it is a line. It's a line. It's subjective whether it's thin or thick, but there's a line. And that line is, if you continuously have to use a government service and you continuously receive horrible customer service, then okay, no, we don't expect grace. But if it's a one-off and you've never heard this person do it to anyone else, then give them grace. Again, as Hadley said, you just don't know what news they may have received. People in customer service are human. They're human. But again, being human is no excuse to treat others in a rude or disrespectful way. Let's go through these final comments. Don't forget, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure Trucking. We have Teddy O'Dill with a Daily Hour News Break. Then we've got Alandra Swan coming up from KBB talking about the island-wide coastal cleanup. Ebony Souza says, I'm sure we've had customer service awards locally. Maybe use that list as a starting point for keeping the local and out of government. Keeping the dollar local and out of government. You know what? Maybe incentives would help customer service, right? I don't have to call government for anything, but audience, when I call places now, like T-Mobile or AT&T, if I have to call anywhere, I'm trying to think where I called last week, and I actually stay on the phone and do the surveys now. And I do that because I think I've been very honest with you all about, like, the reason I like to compliment people and give great feedback is because we're more likely to hear negativity than we are positivity on a regular. Think about it. When you look at like these lists, Magis lists and all this stuff, majority of the stuff is negative. They're negative. So people are more likely to write negative stuff when they're unhappy. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, I think when it comes to the word outsourcing, it is a slippery slope. It is never good to take away work from employees who have been hired to do a job. Do we know that they have the employees to do the job? But I take your point. Dawn Furbert says, yes, bad customer service at TCD and immigration. Lydia Simmons says, TCD, okay, seems like TCD and immigration are the tops. Charles A. Sheffs II says, my hope is that the BPSU is on board with this training and they don't support protecting those who consistently provide bad customer service. Oh my. Folks, let's give some love and thank you for your participation in this conversation. If you haven't already, if you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Carry this conversation with you throughout the day because this is important. And also, always remember, government outsourcing is you outsourcing because government's money is your money. So you know what's happening. When you're at your holiday dinner with your family and they're talking about, did you know government? You tell them, yeah, you did know because we discussed it on the daily hour. Give them a heads up. Make sure they have the link. Make sure they are tuned into the conversations. Let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure Trucking. Then we'll have Teo deal with your Daily Hour News Break.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All right, here's Teo deal with your Daily Hour News Break. After that, we've got Alandra Swan coming up from KBB.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples, who've got all the back-to-school stuff you need for your kids, nursery to high school, everything in between. Peoples got it. You know what it is. So, you might have heard yesterday about how U.S. Navy warships destroyed a vessel in Venezuelan waters. Well, let me tell you how this might mean a lot to us here in Bermuda that we're not really thinking about. So as you can see, this footage demonstrates the culmination of 7 U.S. warships and 1 nuclear-powered sub entering the Caribbean Sea with close to 5,000 sailors and Marines to, according to the Trump White House, destroy drug trafficking cartels. However, it is not super clear how this firepower would actually interrupt the drug trade, since the vast majority of seaborne drugs get to the States via the Pacific, and most of the drugs from the Caribbean come through flights. Anyway, the working theory is that this action is actually a pretty unsubtle attempt by the Trump administration to break Venezuela's government, just to break it, since they've been shifting their massive oil reserves away from U.S. interests. Now, here's why all this matters to us here in Bermuda as an associate member of CARICOM. Now, Venezuela established an oil organization called PetroCaribe in 2005, intended to deepen ties with Caribbean and Central American states by selling them Venezuelan oil, that is to say, Venezuelan power, under crazy favorable terms, like paying as little as 40% of the bill up front, financing the rest over a quarter century for as low as 1% interest that could also be paid not with money, but with goods or services. So all this U.S. pressure on Venezuela has spilled over to the broader Caribbean, making life harder for folks throughout the region, specifically in Haiti and Jamaica. So CARICOM is going to take a stance on this in the next couple of days. Trust me, they have got to. And if CARICOM's stance includes a condemnation of this action, is Bermuda going to support it or not? How do you think it's going to go? I have no idea. But what do you think? Now, in other nationally relevant news, Fitch Ratings has revised its global reinsurance sector outlook to deteriorating, down from neutral for the next little while. This matters because global reinsurance covers about a third of our total GDP directly. Indirectly, including all the supporting professional services like law, IT, real estate, etc., it covers closer to 2/3 of our annual economic output as a country. So any decline in reinsurance is something that we need to pay a lot of attention to. Now, the good news is that despite Fitch's downgrade, they still think the industry is sound overall, with expected improvement in business conditions set for next year. Basically, the market's becoming more competitive based on price as capacity increases, which leads to overall market softening. But as long as major losses remain within budgeted levels, everything should be okay within the reinsurance space. Now, in other news that you probably aren't thinking about at all, there is a popular video game set completely here in Bermuda that's currently free for purchase on the leading global PC gaming platform. However, I am not sure how we should feel about this. It's called Dead in Bermuda, and it's a survival role-playing game. The log line reads that, quote, you take control of 8 survivors of a plane crash to help them survive on a, note, strange island. That's where it starts to feel disrespectful, which continues over the course of the game, which, as you can see, makes it seem like it's possible for a plane to crash here and for nobody to know about it, like ever. Bermuda is not the heart of the Amazon jungle. If a plane crashed, ambulances, fire trucks, all that would come to help. Anyway, if you want to check it out and you have a pretty solid computer, you can cop Dead in Bermuda for free at steam.com. And as far as the weather's concerned, today should give us at least a couple bursts of rain between more extended periods of bright, clear sun, largely caused by a slice of easterly high pressure entering our airspace. However, what is very likely to be Tropical Storm Nate is currently building to our south. We will let you know if it ends up being something we need to worry about. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by the great folks at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Back to the show.
All right, thanks so much for that, Tay. Yes, I was watching very closely what happened to the Venezuelan boat there. And I was wondering if anyone was paying attention to that. The other thing that stood out yesterday is what happened in China with China's president, the Russian president, the North Korea president, many world leaders in China together. It's some things going on that I think our eyes need to be wide open and looking at, not to scare anyone, but there's some things we'll talk about on this show very soon. And I think that we need to have our eyes wide open, paying attention. We can only be oblivious for so long before things start to impact us and we, allow our ignorance to say, well, where'd this come from? Or how'd this happen? Sometimes the information's right in front of us. It's a matter of whether or not we care to pay attention to it. Thank you for that, Taylor. Appreciate that news break. Days of the year. National Skyscrapers Day in the US. So skyscrapers, ask audience, I want to know, what skyscrapers have you been around, like the best ones? I mean, I guess I'm going to say New York. For me, living in New York, going up top of the Empire State and then the One World Trade, I've been in that as well. But have you ever been to any of the world skyscrapers? And if so, which ones have you been to, audience? Let us know. Have you ever been to any of the world skyscrapers? And if so, which ones have you been to? We've got audience reporting. Suzanne Ingham says, accident middle road in T Street, bus and car coming out of T Street, road blocked. Well, that's unfortunate. Hopefully it's not too bad. And if you're not unfamiliar, that is a very, very hot spot for collisions. All right, folks, let's take our quick break. And after this break, don't forget, we've got Alandra Swan. In the meantime, folks, there's too many of you tuned in. And as Mark Arthur C. Phillips always says, help us, help you. Let's beat the algorithm. So whatever platform you're streaming on, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, do us that favor and hit the like, love, repost, share. Just make sure you help us beat the algorithm so as many people as you know have access to these most important community conversations. We'll be back after this.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Ready to take your financial game to the next level? HSBC is here to help you power up your financial fitness. Your strategy should be sharp and ready for anything, because luck won't get you to the top. Whether securing your future, growing wealth, or planning for life's next serve, HSBC's experts are here for you. From budgeting to investing, let's craft a plan as unique as your goals. Plus, get free financial planning consultations to stay on track. Learn more at hsbc.bm/financial planning. HSBC Bank Bermuda is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Get ready for the cool Bermuda nights ahead. A CI-AC mini split AC unit from BAC Group is the perfect solution, keeping you warm this winter and cool all summer long. While supplies last, you can get a unit starting at just $913.50. Plus, receive an extra 10% off when you pay with cash or credit card at the counter. BAC Group, comfort for every season.
SCAR stands for Saving Children and Revealing Secrets, and we are a Bermuda nonprofit organization whose mission is to reduce the risk of child sexual abuse and to be an advocate and a voice for children who've been sexually molested, as well as their affected family. New media like the Daily Hour is really important in partnering with organizations like SCARS. It's another platform for us for awareness. There can be no radio silence as it relates to child sexual abuse, and we need as many initiatives as we can get. We need to keep this message alive. In terms of us and the work that we do, live engagement is good because it allows the audience to ask questions, to make comments, even to provide us with encouragement and support. What I love about the live engagement when Scars is being interviewed by Jamel is just this feeling of safety, this feeling that he gets it, he cares about children. It's a connection.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Alandra, People's Pharmacy, and the big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, without further, well, let me go through this because some of you have mentioned, and I apologize so often to folks on Instagram because you all continue to comment and you feel ignored. It's the technology just doesn't allow us to pick up comments from Instagram. So I kind of am able to go during a commercial break. So I'll read some of your comments now, but I asked about skyscrapers. Dexter Smith on Facebook says The Shard. Charles H. Jefferson II on YouTube says Hudson Yards in NYC is cool. We've got on Instagram, we had 20 Pink Pearl says, is it Burj Khalifa? And Burmy Girl also said Burj Khalifa, it's in Dubai. The town crier, he said CNN Tower and Eiffel Tower. So I got to show some love to the folks on Instagram. We've got Republic Plaza in Denver as well. All right, folks, well, let's bring our very special guest. We've got Alandra Swan coming on from KBB. And folks, prepare your questions and comments. I'll do my best. I say this every day, and I really will do my best to get to your comments and questions. But let's give a warm TDH welcome to our very special guest, her first time on this show, Alandra Swan from KBB. Gee, come on, make some noise for her. Make some noise. Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. How are you?
Happy Wednesday. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm okay. You know, I'm not sure if it's hump day or not, but you know,
right.
It's a bit confusing on weeks like this. But I've got to ask you, skyscraper. Have you been to any skyscrapers?
I have. I have to say, Chicago does it for me. The Salesforce building is just beautiful. So shout out to those in Chi-Town. It's a place that stole my heart.
Okay, I got you. I'm trying to think. I think I've been on one, and it's like a restaurant high up in Chicago. But I'm a weird person where I go places and don't remember where I've been. But yeah, no, I seriously, that's what Facebook was good for back in the day. I would be able to tag stuff and then go back, but I don't do that because I don't really want people to know who I am these days. It's dangerous. But Alandra, thank you so much for joining us. And before we jump into the conversation, it's your first time on the show, just tell the audience a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
Sure. Right. So I am the newly minted Education and Community Engagement Coordinator for KBB. For those that may know my face, I actually come out of education. I taught in the school system, public school system for 15 years, the last 10. I was earliest teacher at Francis Patton. Shout out to Francis Patton. But I recently joined KBB during the summertime. So literally came in, hit the ground running. I do everything from school presentations to meeting with corporate groups for cleanups, spreading the word on social media, Instagram and Facebook in particular. We've done a lot of campaigns, especially over Cut Match. Now we're getting ready to head into the fall with island-wide coastal cleanup. So I've kind of taken the role of just education, promotion, social engagement, and it's been really fun. I think I love the fact that I get to do a bit of the role that I was in as an educator while also bringing a lot of entrepreneurial into the mix as a social media expert, corporate person. It's just this really nice merging of so many skill sets that I've had just been developing over the years.
I feel the enthusiasm. Audience, do you feel the enthusiasm? Like this is gonna be, like fun. This is gonna be a true community relationship and partnership. But let's jump into the island-wide coastal cleanup. It's named See the Change this year, like C as in the ocean, folks, not C as in eyes. But I get it. play on words. See the change. So this year it runs from the 26th of September to the 5th of October.
Yes.
Assuming naturally a massive community effort, what does your role as the education coordinator entail in orchestrating an event that spans 60 locations and mobilizes hundreds of volunteers?
Yeah, oh my gosh, when you put it like that, it is definitely a lot. Thankfully, I'm not alone. We do have a coordinator who manages the signups. One thing that I have to say coming into this role, I really appreciate the amount of support that KBB gets in terms of community engagement. So for me, I think it's continuing the conversation on social media, bringing that awareness. Also making sure that the supplies are ready. We're able to go off and meet with some of the corporate partners who perhaps are new. We do get businesses that come on island that are very eager and keen. So definitely bringing that knowledge to them, helping them to understand, how we go about a coastal cleanup, because it is a little different from our month-to-month community cleanups. And just being, I think for me, the biggest thing is being a voice and a support, just ensuring that the message is out there, and also whatever we gather in terms of data, I'm able to really filter that into our everything, like from, our reports, our engagement, that people know, like we pick up thousands of pounds of trash. And so it's been exciting in that regard.
And speaking of that, because last year we saw nearly 800 volunteers removing over 20,000 pounds of litter from our shores. How do you maintain and grow that momentum to aim even higher this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think probably one of the biggest things for me is being able to continue the narrative. I think we've done a great job over the years to be able to ensure that we're not just doing a one and done experience. So, hi everybody, I'm here for the coastal cleanup. Bye, never see you again.
Right.
I think that active partnership through our newsletters, being able to get into the schools. So, do you remember a KBB assembly? Do you remember all of the lessons that we used to do? So really pushing that, getting into our schools and allowing kids to lead in terms of sharing that knowledge with their families, and just building that momentum continuously so that they understand that this is not just a KBBs over here and the communities over here. It's a combination and a culture that we are building. Like, I'm all about people seeing cleanups as what we do when we go picnicking, or what May 24th looks like. It's just a part of the culture. So yeah, definitely continue that conversation through those meetings.
Indeed. I like what you just said. It's not like hey, thanks for coming. No, keep the relationship going. And that's how community works, right? The trash collected during the cleanup is part of a global data set reported to Ocean Conservancy International's coastal cleanup effort. I did not know that. That's why you all come on. It's important, right? Could you explain why Bermuda's data is so critical and how it informs both local and global efforts to combat marine pollution?
Yeah, so good question. One of the things that I learned when I first started was the fact that Bermuda, we always talk about Bermuda sitting strategically in this geolocation, this geopolitical region. And one of the things that is so, I guess, important for us to understand is that not only are we positioned locationally, we're positioned in the Atlantic in this thing called a gyre. And so we pick up things like trash from Africa. We pick up trash from the Caribbean, the United States. The distance that it travels is staggering. And that was probably one of the first things that I learned. It was like, oh my gosh, we get so much trash, yes, locally, but also globally. And so with the data collected, it's just so important that it goes into a wider pool, a global data bank that allows the world to see how globally we are, there is an impact with the trash, but then also how we strategically are positioned to combat the challenges globally with our cleanups. So I think it's twofold. It's like we're helping the globe, but then also our data is helping to inform what is happening out in the Atlantic because of the fact that we are in this gyre.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Data tells us some things. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Alandra, please send them through. This is a big community effort. I want to ask the audience as well, has anyone participated in any of KBB's cleanups? Because KBB isn't just active during the big cleanup season. You coordinate monthly community cleanups across parishes, and even a major spring event we spoke about on the show before, the Great Bermuda, Big Bermuda Cleanup. How do these community-led efforts complement the island-wide coastal initiative?
So I talked about this culture. And one of the things that, and I'll go back to when I was a kid, I didn't know that, you didn't pick up trash. You clean the island. You pick up trash. You keep Bermuda beautiful. That's all I knew. And it wasn't until I got into college that when I would share, be like, yeah, keep Bermuda beautiful. We're probably going to do a cleanup. People were like, what is that? What? And so what I appreciate about the month-to-month cleanups is it is a real thing. Like Bermudians love their island culturally, and all of the flavors that come with it, including keeping Bermuda beautiful. Seeing friends and families come from away. And that's one of the things that they know. They're like, this island is so clean. And to know that our community has such a deep love and pride for that in those months, it's staggering. I mean, we hosted a cleanup in July. It is hot. And it was in Southampton. And the amount of people, and we thought, okay, maybe 20, 30 people will come. Y'all, it was like 50, 60 people. And they stayed the entire time. They were so invested. That community basically went into their own neighborhood and was like, come on, y'all, let's go. We got to get this sorted. I love that we can instill that pride. I love that we instill that cultural norm that this is what we do. Yeah. And I mean, we had grandmas with their grandkids. The pumpkins were out in full force. And just the way in which we see adults modeling for their kids, I love that we get to be a part of that and really push that forward and just make this just a fun experience to see that, yes, you are having an impact by deepening ties and relationships within your community, but also that vested interest around keeping it clean is also a part of how we connect with one another. So I just love it for that. I absolutely appreciate the way our community, and I saw it also in Sandy's, and that wasn't even a month-to-month cleanup. That was just the community saying, hey, KBB, we want to do our own. Can you help us by just bringing supplies? When I got there, y'all, they had a full clean crew with like grass cutters, lawn care specialists. It was amazing. So, just shout out to those communities for being a part of it.
So it's that easy. And audience, again, have you ever participated in a KBB cleanup? Just a yes or no, but it's that easy. If someone wants to do this, they just reach out to your office and it's,
we provide the grabbers, our cute orange grabbers. We provide black bags, blue bags, cleanup kits. Even as we go as far as, we pay for the trash to be picked up. That is not something that we rely on government for. We make sure that is something that we supply so that people understand that we are very much interested and invested in this.
You mentioned something earlier, and it really stuck with me because KBB didn't strike fear in me, but the education was so good that it made you not want to litter, right? We live in a time now, just yesterday as I was turning into my apartment building, someone opened their door at the traffic light and put a plastic bag in the road and drove off, right?
Yeah.
I literally, anyone who watches this show who's tuned in from day one knows I don't like littering. But how do we get people to understand the impact of their litter?
Yeah. And it's tough because I feel like that is a big question for our community. How do we get our community to care again and realize that that bag that got put on the side of the road doesn't just go away? And so I think that there is a collective voice. Definitely, Jamal, you said it, you having, it bred within you intrinsically. I think that's a big piece of continuing to educate. And that's why I love educating young people. Let me tell you, young people, shout out to those 5 and up, even the little ones, they have a voice and they have a say and they have a power that if you tap into their understanding about keeping Bermuda beautiful, let me tell you, y'all, when we were kids, my sisters and I, my dad threw an apple out the window and we pounced. Teaching them and embedding it as part of their understanding so that they understand it intrinsically from young goes a long way in shifting that culture. Because I can tell you that person putting that bag on the side of the road, it didn't start there. No. It started somewhere. And I think that's something that I see in terms of, again, is making this part of our everyday reality. And also being vigilant to say, y'all, no, that's not what we do. I remember a kid, he literally threw a water bottle as I was driving up a hill, and I stopped the car and I was like, just give me the bottle. And it wasn't anything like, you need to da-da-da. I was like, give me the bottle. Because I just wanted to model for him that, hey, it's not okay. And it's okay for me to show you how we do this. This is what we do. I'm gonna take your bottle. I don't care what's in it. I'm gonna wash my hands after it. But I'm gonna make sure that you understand that we're gonna keep Bermuda beautiful because this is what we do. It's just every day.
I love that though. Folks, listen to what she just said, and this goes across all disciplines with young people. She didn't yell at them. She just saw it as a teaching moment. And a moment to help someone understand, no, this is not how we do it. This is how we can do it and we should do it. That can go across so many things in Bermuda right now. I did ask Alandra, has anyone participated in a KBB cleanup? Dr. Anthony Richardson said yes. Anika DeShield says yes. Ebony Souza, who actually did one with us, we did one with KBB not last year, the year before, February of 2023. So I think the Daily Hour team is due. So we have to get on the calendar and get we had some of our wonderful Daily Hour folks out with us, Karen Simmons, among others. Forgive me if I don't remember your names now, but some of them were out. But Ebony Souza asks, she says, morning and welcome. Yes, I have. When going into parishes, neighborhoods, is there something like a door-to-door survey or participation sign up?
I love that. Thank you so much, Ebony, for that question. KBB office at kbb.bm or going on to our website at kbb.bm has all of the signups. Our shout out to our office coordinator. She is fantastic with signups, getting volunteers, rallying the troops. We definitely have seen an increase through those means. If you reach out to us, we are so responsive with ensuring that, if you want to participate, also hit us up on social media, Keep Bermuda Beautiful on Instagram and Facebook. We are so committed and so dedicated. We're so responsive. And so if you are interested in participating, even for this coastal cleanup, we are actively signing up people at this very moment. Reach out to us. Also 799-5142. You can call us and we will certainly be able to help you.
Indeed. Charles H. Jefferson II says, many years ago, our daughter got us into recycling. Children can lead the way. Indeed.
Come on. And can I just put in a plug for Race to Recycle? So when I came on board, Race to Recycle was just ending. We had only 8 schools, 8 that ended up participating. And they collected enough recycle that I believe was like, it compared to somewhat the total of recycling we collect for the entire island.
Wow.
8 schools. They got their parents, their aunts, their godmas, their cousins to go to bars. I mean, the strategies for which they collected were just mind blowing. So thank you so much, Mr. Jeffers. They do lead the way. They really, and we heard the feedback. The data was there. Parents were saying, you know, we now recycle because of the Race to Recycle initiative. So well done.
Love that. Rosalind Famous says, I still remember the KBB commercials from the 80s. They had an impact. Well, you've got social media now where you guys are very active. You work with the sports teams, cup match, now going into football season. But how important is staying engaged with, you know, new media?
It's everything. I think because of the reality is this, you know, we go to where the people are. I think that's the biggest thing, you know, and being a visual presence, being an active and engaged presence on these various channels goes a long way. Again, you know, we are live and in person. We're real people. So we go into the schools, we talk to the children, we talk to the adults, we show up at the cleanups, but also being on these various channels. Again, we're about bringing the culture and the vibe of keeping Bermuda beautiful to everywhere. And so, you know, partnering with Cup Match, that was my first time doing that. That was amazing. And I love it because many of the videos we did in one take. They were like, y'all, we know what we got to do. We know what we need to say. And I'm like, well done. Shout out to, you know, Somerset and St. George's for just being able to represent the country in terms of, you know, just showing Bermuda what it is to keep Bermuda beautiful on Instagram and Facebook, because it was absolutely amazing. We got so many viewership. Cup Match is a thing. Cricket is a thing. Don't mess.
It is. No, seriously. And I saw all of, like, if not all of them, most of them, and it was really good engagement.
Amazing.
With events like the island-wide coastal cleanup, how do you hope they inspire Bermudians, families, students, businesses to see environmental stewardship, not just as a duty, but as a community value they can be proud of?
Yeah, that's so important, I think, because again, it's bringing awareness, it's bringing understanding that this is what's happening to our island. No, it's not all of us. Some of it definitely is us, but it brings a sense of togetherness. And it brings a togetherness that says it doesn't matter where we're coming from. It doesn't matter who did it. You know, as a teacher, you always hear, Miss Swan, but I didn't do it. And I'm always like, I don't care. I love our classroom. I love our environment. Let's keep it beautiful. And I think that understanding, when it brings us together, it unites us for that purpose and that cause. It brings a level of close-knit and community awareness that to me would not come if we didn't do it. If it would not come if we didn't come together. And I see the value, I see the impact beyond just the thousands of pounds of trash. To hear the voices and being able to capture voices, whether you are a politician or whether you are a little pumpkin going with your grandma, to see that community come together and them vocalize and voice that this is important. This is not just something that we do. This is important. It makes such a huge difference.
You've mentioned partnerships a few times, and I know you got to go. I've kept you long of a time, but these conversations are so helpful. But speak to the importance of the sponsors and partners that allow you all to actually remain connected and grow with the community. I know EY is one of your key backers.
Yeah. Shout out to them. Mike Penrose is the lead person for EY. You know, I'm able to sit in this seat and do the things that I do and the things that I love because we have people who are vested and see the impact and understand the value that comes with partnering with KBB. We would not be able to provide the services, by the way, free of charge without that support. And I think it helps us to see that this is not just something where people are saying it with their mouths. They're actually putting their money where their mouths are and actually tangibly saying, I want to see the continuation and I want to see the enhancement of our island through KBB. And so I'm so grateful for EY. I'm grateful for other donors and partners and even individuals. We recently had a surge of individual memberships. Those dollars, those signups, they make such a huge difference. And that impact, we cannot say thank you enough we cannot extend our gratitude because it allows us to continue the conversation and continue the tangible work that we do in Bermuda.
Indeed. Before you head out, Alandra, just remind people how they can get in touch, sign up and register for things like the island-wide coastal cleanup, among other things that KBB does.
Absolutely. Reach out to us at office@kbb.bm. Please head to our website. kbb.bm has all of the signups, all of the information. In fact, the island-wide coastal cleanup is on our homepage. Feel free to reach out to us at Keep Bermuda Beautiful on Instagram and Facebook. And if not, you know what? If you like picking up the telephone, call us 799-5142, and our lovely Abby Stewart will be more than willing to assist you. So yeah.
All right. This has been amazing. Alandra, do not be a stranger. Thank you for the energy and the important information, community conversations. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be in touch.
All righty. Love y'all. Happy Humpish Day.
Humpish Day. I like that one. Humpish Day. We'll talk soon. All right. Alandra Swan, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Please, these are very important community conversations. Big up to everyone at KBB and the people who continue to support their efforts in keeping Bermuda beautiful. We're going to take our final break. We've got the daily play, and I'll give you some daily inspiration before I let you go for the day. Stick with us.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
PALS is a cancer care charity. We started 45 years ago. What started as a charity with a half-time nurse, and basically just assisting patients going home from the hospital, but patients dying at home. We now, 45 years later, have 6 nurses, a social worker, and a palliative care physician. I know a lot of people that watch the Daily Hour every day, so it's just educational. It helps you know more about specific charities or specific organizations, and kind of get the nitty-gritty as opposed to just seeing a flyer on social media or just hearing or seeing a commercial. I think it's more beneficial. Like if I'm on the radio or on TV, I'm just like telling you what I think you want to know, but you might have specific questions that I can answer directly. I think it's much better having the live engagement.
All righty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Alandra Swan and KBB for continuing to trust this platform to engage with all of you, us, and ensure that everyone has access to such important community conversations. I want to give a shout out to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC, especially for ensuring that we can pump through the radio areas with these most important community conversations on Hot 107.5 folks, if you haven't already, do us that favor. It costs you nothing. It's too many of you, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram. Please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, are you ready? It is music today. Here we go. When did as yet make love to her? Oops. No R&B heads in the house today. No one knows the answer to that, huh? As Yet. You do know the R&B group As Yet, A-Z Yet, right? See, y'all are Googling and you probably put A-S Yet. Yeah, see, I got you this morning. None of you couldn't cheat this morning. When did As Yet make love to her? That was their biggest hit, folks. The name of the song. The name of the song, not Ease Yet, As Yet, A-Z. Suzanne? Yeah. Stacey Ann Brown is Googling, Charles. She's Googling. No one knows the answer to this. This was yes, Nicole Walker. There you go. Last night. Well, it's PG. We can't say the lyrics on this morning show. But you get it. The song is Last Night by As Yet, A-Z-Y-E-T. Yeah, we got you today, folks. We got you. We got you. You didn't know that one. Yeah, we got you. We got you. All right, let's wrap it up. As far as the conversation this morning, folks, regarding the government outsourcing, let's say this. Let's say this much. I think we all agree that Bermuda as a whole could probably benefit from ongoing customer service training. And that's not to say Bermuda's worse off than anywhere else, or we're horrible, or we're bad. But as things evolve and as things change, the pressures of life become different for people. Personalities change. We're going to know how to handle certain situations. So I'm a fan of ongoing customer service training. I guess there are various arguments whether or not the government should be outsourcing it. And that's one that we can debate all day. But I think we're all in agreement that the customer service training is needed. As far as the conversation with Alandra Swan, my hope is that all of Bermuda, takes pride in the island's pristine beauty. Charles H. Jefferson II mentioned Bermudian pride yesterday, I believe. Part of that pride is simply picking up after yourself. Some part of that pride is saying, you know what? My children and I were free this weekend. There's no football games on. Let's go out and see what KBB's got going on so we can help with this cleanup. I say something often, and we work with many charitable partners, but listen carefully to what I'm saying right now. In a fair and just world, there would be no need for charities. I'm impressed when KBB says that they've collected 20,000 pounds of trash or 30,000 pounds of trash. But if we all did our job, which is not to litter, then KBB could use their resources in other areas. You feel what I'm saying? It wouldn't be trash pickup. It could be probably education on the environment and how you're helping it or how you can better help it. So we have a part to play, because trash doesn't just end up in our community. Someone puts it there. And I want that to really stick with you all. make sure you go email them or reach out to them by their office or go to their social media, Keep Bermuda Beautiful, if you'd like to lock in and get on top of one of their upcoming events. All right, folks, here's your daily inspiration. Don't allow your love for anyone to be so blind that when given the truth, you choose to defend over trying to at least comprehend and ask questions. Love isn't blind. It's a choice that we make in not seeing. All right, folks, time to let you all go. Please, if you haven't already, if you're streaming with us online, give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.